Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you so very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. You allow me to do these live streams, and you allow me to remain independent as a content creator, and I'm just very, very grateful. Thank you so very, very much. And Luke St. Martin, Eric, H526, thank you very much. This is a very important segment because it explains exactly why Democrats will lose. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. She'll be on that ballot opposite President Trump. There's no way they're going to go with Biden. If by some miracle they're so inept and incompetent. See, I have always stated that Hillary Clinton is going to be at the nomination. She'll be nominee. It's the centennial of the 19th Amendment giving women the right to vote. There is no amendment giving cadavers or exhumed bodies the right to vote. Biden, watching paint dry is more amusing. In fact, paint watches Biden dry. That's how boring he is. There's not only is there zero enthusiasm for Biden, the notion that he won a primary that was only predicated upon electability and who could defeat Trump, who was more electable, that's it. There was no discussion. There was no emphasis on any specific policy. There's no enthusiasm because there's no policy that Democrats want. Their only policy objective is get Trump out of office. That's it. Biden would veto Medicare for all. Biden would veto any transformative Green New Deal legislation. Biden is against all the social, policy objectives or laws that the left wants, or that everything from defund the police to any other, possible, legislation or viewpoint pertaining to progressive or left-leaning ideology or, policy objectives. He's against all of that. Hillary Clinton is actually more progressive than Biden. So there's zero enthusiasm for Biden. He doesn't represent anything. President Trump represents bringing Americans home from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. President Trump signed a deal in late February, early March to bring American soldiers home from the longest-running military conflict in our history. This is a huge deal that nobody talks about. The left does not care. But that will be their undoing. President Trump has addressed the trade imbalance with China. You can disagree with how he's addressed or how he's tackled that $400 billion deficit. You can disagree with that. But he has addressed the budget, the trade deficit with China. He's addressed never-ending, or he has made that an issue, never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts where the people who want to keep Americans there say, what happens if we leave? Well, you should have thought of that 20 years ago. Our foreign policy cannot be a what happens if we leave foreign policy. That is not a foreign policy. That is not a feasible or realistic or rational or reasonable or logical foreign policy. You can't simply say, well, we have to stay there forever because we'll abandon people, or, what happens if we leave? President Trump, people are voting for President Trump to reverse U.S. foreign policy. Okay? The left talks about empire and, all these buzzwords, empire and capitalism and, they'll never say bring Americans home from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. That used to be a left-leaning viewpoint. President Trump is doing this. Okay? He has addressed the trade imbalance with China. not through the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So there are so many overlaps. There are so many overlapping. There's so many reasons why a Bernie 2016 supporter would vote for President Trump. President Trump took us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Hillary Clinton obviously would have kept us in it. President Trump has reversed U.S. foreign policy, failed foreign policy for 20 years. Clinton would have increased our presence in those regions of conflict. We had record low unemployment before the pandemic. President Trump has allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than President Obama. In President Obama's first term, President Trump has allocated, and this is a fact, has allocated more money to historically black colleges and universities. President Trump signed the First Step Act. Obviously, the people the activists who worked for prison reform deserve most of the credit. But if Trump is a racist and a monster, why did he sign the First Step Act? So if he didn't sign the First Step Act, they would say, you see, this is an example of him Trump being a racist. If he does sign the First Step Act, they say, oh, well, it really doesn't matter. He's still a bigot. So Democrats are all over the place. But President Trump signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses that's running rampant. You can't make certain analogies. You can't make certain comparisons, because if you do, those are anti-Semitic comparisons. And you can, I don't even want to get into it in a live stream, but President Trump just signed an executive order lowering prescription drug prices. He's doing a great job. Considering that media is apoplectic and hysterical, he's doing a great job. But you look, CBS News poll analysis, is there an enthusiasm gap between Trump and Biden? Then it goes on to explain there's an enormous enthusiasm gap. This is just a couple of hours ago. Couple weeks back, The Hill, Trump faces sinking polls but has enthusiasm and economy on his side. This is a microcosm of the 2020 election. Everything is smoke and mirrors. That is impossible. That headline alone is not a logical or rational headline. That's a sentence that contradicts the overall point. The theme of the article is that Biden's poll numbers are going up. That is impossible if voters are choosing President Trump on the economy and Trump's voters are more enthusiastic. So how on earth is Biden leading nationally? It makes no sense at all. And when they lose again, they're going to blame Martians who came here from the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. They'll blame Putin, they'll blame Kanye, they'll blame everyone, and it's going to be investigations into Trump. They will never admit that they have no policies that they're running on. They have no legislation. They have nothing that unifies Democrats. They have zero enthusiasm for Biden. And eventually they're going to go with Clinton. I don't know how it happens. I'm expecting Clinton to take the nomination at the convention, but if they're inept and incompetent enough, because she's the only person who could possibly defeat President Trump. She's the only person who could possibly defeat President Trump. But if they're inept and incompetent enough to go with a person who looks and communicates like an exhumed body, old school dad, man, today stated pulling troops out from Germany. Great, I agree with that 100%. Why? I have no clue why. Aside from the history of the Cold War, and I understand why we have soldiers in Germany and Japan, but Russia is not going to invade Germany. That is not going to happen. Okay, they didn't even really have enough money to invade Ukraine, but they did. Old school dad man, thank you. Old school dad man, thank you. Pete Solano! We have to unite, not fight. Remember, divide and conquer is the plan. HA. Pete Solano! Thank you. I think that I agree with you. Pete Solano, I agree with you. Old school dad man, Pete Solano, thank you. Jimbo! Harris will make my secretary look more palatable. I don't know if they're going to pick Kamala Harris. I have no clue. But Biden is going to pick a vice president, and Clinton is going to be the nominee. And Wally Pop, hello. And I don't know how it's going to happen, Jimbo. I don't know how it's going to happen. Old school dat man, Pete Solano, thank you. But does this make any sense at all? Trump faces a sinking polls but has enthusiasm in the economy on his side. Has there been a president who's won an election without being viewed as better on the economy and having more enthusiasm? Has there been a president, that's lost an election, a candidate that's lost an election, who was leading on the economy and had enthusiasm on his side? Does that make any sense at all? Does that make any sense at all? It makes no sense at all. Then CNN Politics, why Trump's enthusiasm at Joe over Biden could matter. And then Politico, we're thinking landslide. Beyond DC, GOP officials see Trump on glide path to re-election. He has Professor Helmut Norpoth of Stony Brook University stated that Trump has a 91% chance of winning. Now, I would say he has an 88% chance of winning if it's Clinton, or 75% chance. But if it's Biden, I would say he has a 95% chance of winning. Then you have Los Angeles Times, Trump trying to cast Biden as doddering old man. That's rich. Then the op-ed is, in our presidential battle of septuagenarians, I'll take doddering over despicable any day. Well, there's no question that his current challenger is not only doddering, he's one fry short of a Happy Meal. But that's, I disagree, and 63 million people disagree that Trump is despicable. He's the opposite of despicable. I would say the Democrats fit that label. I would say Biden fits that label. Trump is a great president. We had record low Black and Latino unemployment, record low unemployment. He signed the First Step Back. He gave more money to historically black colleges and universities than President Obama did. In his first 4 years, he's reversing U.S. foreign policy. He's bringing home American soldiers. He's lowering prescription drug prices. What do you want this man to do? What more do you want this man to do? 5 states account for over half of the lives lost in cases in the entire country. And that's not Trump's fault. They're all run by Democrats. Biden consolidates support, but trails badly in enthusiasm. ABC News. Again, how is that possible? Biden leads in new polls, but he may face an enthusiasm gap. New U.S. News and World Report. Joe Biden's campaign is suppressing the Hispanic vote. Are they trying to lose? Diana Q! Thank you, Diana. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Diana. Very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Diana, what more do they want this man to accomplish? With an apoplectic media that set him up. He didn't work with Russia. We know this because it's so absurd only an imbecile would believe that Facebook ads swung the election. Nobody looks at Facebook ads and says, oh gosh, they're so convincing. I was actually going to vote for the first female president, but forget about that. That's not going to happen now. Diana Q, thank you, Diana. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you. Biden leads in new poll, but I read that. Joe Biden's campaign is suppressing the Hispanic vote. Internal letter claims 90 activists and campaign officials in Florida state that Biden is suppressing the vote? Are you kidding me? You cannot win 29 electoral college votes without the Hispanic and Latino vote in Florida. So is he trying to lose Florida? I don't understand. Then you have Newsweek, Democrats fear pandemic's effect on Biden's coalition of Black and Latino voters. So tell me again how this turnout, they need historic turnout. Clinton did not do as well as President Obama among Black and Latino voters. And Trump did better than Romney did. And Trump is doing better than he did in 2016 among Black and Latino voters. And Biden is doing worse than Clinton did. So right there, that's like a little, if you can decipher what I just stated, or you can kind of, understand, that is not good for Democrats. CBS News poll analysis. Is there an enthusiasm gap between Trump and Biden? We'll read that in a second. Media's favorite answer. Okay, so here, we'll read the CBS News poll analysis, and then it goes into, this is kind of hilarious. It goes into double digits, so there's a strength of support gap and enthusiasm gap. So Biden has an enthusiasm gap of double digits in Arizona, Texas, almost double digits in Texas, 5 points in Florida, Ohio, 5 points in Ohio, and Michigan, 2 points in Michigan. So, I mean, it's like Trump has greater enthusiasm in Michigan, Ohio, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Where does aside from safely blue states, where does Biden have greater enthusiasm? However, supporters of Mr. Trump are more likely to say by a margin that ranges from 2 to 9%, depending on the state, that they're very enthusiastic. Then they go on to say, well, 538 has an article. There's other articles saying, well, they're enthusiastic about voting against Trump. That makes no sense. I'm not enthusiastic about buying a Toyota because I can't stand Honda. I'm not enthusiastic about marrying my wife because I now won't have to marry another woman. Does that make any sense at all? Do you say like, oh, honey, I want to marry you because can I please tell you you're so much better than the horrible person I could have married? Do you tell people you love them based on how much you dislike other people? Pete Solano! So is the Democrats going to block my vote because I am Latino and a Trump supporter? No, I mean, if they could, they would. But there's no way for them to do that. There's no way for them to do that just yet. Pete Solano! Pete Solano, it's the Latino, Hispanic and Latino voters are going to be... Bill Shepard, hello, it's hot. Hispanic and Latino voters are going to help President Trump. Going to be very important to President Trump winning this election. Extremely, extremely important. Extremely important. But you have they're setting themselves up for such failure. It's unbelievable. Pete Solano, thank you very, very, very much. If they could, they would. If they could, they would. But they can't, so they won't. Or they'll try, I'm sure. There's no way that President Trump is going to lose this election because if you look, I was 100% right in 2015. In 2015, I said Clinton would lose the election to Trump. I was the only person on the left saying this. And I wrote 100 articles in the Huffington Post. And I wrote in Salon. I wrote in The Hill. I said Clinton's going to lose to Trump. And she lost. Now, I was right about the Senate in midterms. Republicans increased their lead in the Senate, but I was wrong about the House. I'm not perfect, but I was wrong about the House primarily because I didn't realize how despicable or how boring or how complicit people like Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney were. And I underestimated also the impact the Mueller probe had, which was ultimately nothing because he didn't actually vindicated President Trump. Nobody was indicted. They found no evidence of anyone working to interfere in the election. The whole thing was a complete and utter charade and farce. They set him up. But see, that is like historically, presidents lose a great deal of seats in the House, but he lost less seats than President Obama and less seats than Bush. Okay? And that's with an apoplectic media. That's with an apoplectic, seething, fuming media. Trump actually did way better than President Obama in his first midterm. A great deal better. Okay, so Bill Clinton lost 52 seats. President Obama lost 63 seats. Okay, actually, Bush, I don't know how many seats did Bush lose? I don't know but he did better than Bill Clinton, better than Obama. But anyway, my point is, he was just the third president in 100 years to gain Senate seats in a midterm election. Okay? That doesn't take place without some kind of bizarre, like the House was run by Paul Ryan, so okay, there you go. That's the biggest reason they lost. Kaylee Smith, mainstream media is the enemy of the people. Down with fake news. Kaylee Smith, thank you. Thank God for Pete Solano. Thank you so very much, Pete. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the kind words, Pete Solano. Thank you, Kaylee Smith. I think that the press, the First Amendment, and the media and a free press is important. It would be nice if we had an independent and objective. It would be really nice if we had independent and objective journalists who could say something nice about President Trump without being ostracized and demonized and silenced. It would be nice. Kaylee Smith, thank you. I don't think anyone's an enemy, but I will say this: they're not wearing "Make America Great Again" hats, and they're rooting for one political side. Big Toe, H.A. by IWI Galil, the Jewish egg. That Galil is a good one. The Big Toe Galil is a great 7.62 by 51 millimeter, I believe, right? Big Toe, thank you. I'm just me too. Explain the winner takes all states. I read that it makes votes not count for the ones with less votes. Is this true? From what I understand, it's still that each state has to go. The electors of the state have to go to the person that actually wins the popular vote within the state. So I don't think that you might be referring. I think you're referring to states that have stated that they're that they're going to go with the overall popular vote. I don't think that is the case this election. I think the Supreme Court ruled against that, or ruled against any possibility of that taking place. So, I think that that is I believe, I'm just me too. I believe that is the case. Big Toe, thank you. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where I'm doing something that, you watch this channel because I get to do things that so you don't have to do them. So lately I've been looking at the top liberal, progressive, I'm talking about 800 to 1,000, 800,000 to 1 million sub channels. And there's about maybe, about 3 or 4, top progressive, liberal, Democratic Party, YouTubers, and I about 800,000. I have 800,000 subs to 1 million subs. Duke Diesel! Thanks, AJ, for keeping it real. Thank you, Duke Diesel. Thank you very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated, and thank you for your support. Duke Diesel, thank you. Duke Diesel, everyone here, thank you very much, and thank you for the kind words. It's greatly appreciated. Duke Diesel and everyone here, I've been watching, just so if I ever debate them, because I know that I would easily defeat all of them in a debate because they can't answer. There are about 6 to 7 questions they cannot answer, or they will not answer. Pertaining to the duplicity of the Democratic Party, how they treated Bernie Sanders, the fact that they don't, there's no Medicare for all bill, the fact that the rhetoric on the left never correlates to legislation. But I'm looking at the 800,000 to 1 million sub channels, and I'm asking myself, okay, what are they talking about? I'm asking myself, well, what are they talking about? What is it that they're talking about? What are they interested in? Okay, are they because I'm talking about President Trump every day. I'm talking about the Democratic nominee. The Democratic nominee ain't going to be even a person on that ballot ain't going to be Biden. Hillary Clinton's going to be on that ballot, and she'll be the nominee eventually. Whether they're inept enough to allow Biden to be nominated, I don't think they will. But whatever, Hillary Clinton is the only chance they have. But I talk about that. I talk about President Trump. I talk about William Barr. I talk about John Durham. I talk about bringing home Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I talk about Kanye West taking the popular vote. I talk about Democratic Party duplicity. I talk about a lot of things pertaining to President Trump. I'm looking and I'm asking myself, what do these people, I'm not going to give you their names, you know who they are, but I'm saying, what do they talk about? Well, they obsess and they touch themselves in ecstasy over Dave Rubin. They have some kind of like deep-seated animosity to, they can't, for some reason, they do a segment on Dave Rubin every day. They touch themselves in ecstasy trying to explain how he's, duplicitous or whatever. And I have no clue why they're obsessed with Dave Rubin. But so they talk about him. They talk about how, Trump supporters or President Trump lack intelligence, how he didn't throw out the first pitch, he's a coward. They talk about how they love, like Fauci, and basically they're not talking about Joe Biden. And they're certainly not really talking about they're not talking about any more Medicare for all. They're not really focusing on any policy or legislation. So, here, let me just hear. So, I'll look at one. So, here you have... So, a bunch of how, the everything's peaceful regarding the protests, okay. Really nothing about Biden. There's nothing about Biden. I'm trying to look here, and I'm trying to see, I'm going through these channels, and I'm trying to see, is there anything good about Biden that they're talking about? Nothing. Oh, I mean, okay, they focus on Tucker Carlson. They're focusing on Ben Shapiro. But is there anything that they're talking? Okay, here. So I'm talking. So my point is, they're in a bizarre. They're in a bizarre kind of. It's kind of funny too. You could look at the top three. You could look at the top 3 or 4 channels. They're talking about the exact same thing. Dave Rubin is bad. Ben Shapiro is bad. And, certain Fox News personalities are horrible. Nothing really about Biden except maybe to disparage him, kind of. And I'm asking myself, how on earth are they even going to, how on earth are they going to even get close to President Trump? Pete Solano! Is the media violating the U.S. Constitution for lying? Pete, they're not. Pete Solano, they're not. Because, for example, BuzzFeed won a court case based on the Steele dossier because the United States government under President Obama utilized the Steele dossier. So they can push things that are patently false and then fall back on the fact that, well, James Clapper, it was an actual investigation. So what they can do is they can say, well, look, we have... So Pete Solano, they can actually say, look, we're reporting on what the United States government itself is actually investigating. Meanwhile, the media is complicit along with these corrupt intelligence officials, which is obvious. But so that's how they get around it. Jimbo, did you see political retraction? Thanks, AJ. Jimbo, I did. I think that might be a sleight of hand. I think almost certainly they're not going to pick Kamala Harris. Maybe they will. I don't know. They could pick Hillary Clinton. But I think it's going to be perhaps somebody else, because then President Trump could simply replay the clip of Kamala Harris going after Biden regarding segregation. Jeanette Channing, thank you. Angela Goodwin. Angela, one of the most learned and just wonderful people. Angela Goodwin. Do these little progressive Democrats have common ideology, or they just make it up as it goes? And the Common Core, anything but Trump? No, they just basically they get their marching orders or their content ideas from CNN, MSNBC, or corrupt intelligence chiefs, and then it goes to Trump worked with Russia, and Trump withheld military assistance. Oh my God, so it's just basically the same. They regurgitate the same themes and then pretend that they're speaking with this like independent, unique voice. It's really they're saying the same things over again. They obsess over Dave Rubin. They obsess over Ben Shapiro. They obsess over Tucker Carlson, or a Fox News host. They think Trump lacks intelligence and he's a buffoon. And you know what? Here and there, they might critique Biden, but there's no discussion lately of how they're going to defeat Trump. Angela, thank you so much. Bimbo Dickens BXN! Abnormal, unlikely, you haven't gone up from your B count in years, throttled. Latinos for Trump! I think Bimbo Dickens BXN, I'm like the Kevin McReynolds of YouTubers. Remember Kevin McReynolds? 80s, 90s, Mets. Kevin McReynolds batted 280, hit 25 homers, batted 89, 90 RBIs. So I just do my thing. I'm expecting a nice little bounce once Madam Secretary, or even if, look, Madam Secretary is going to be nominee eventually, I think during this convention, but if they're inept enough not to, it's their problem. I think that this election, regardless of what takes place, let's say they go with Biden, the sub count will increase just based on people watching, because this is the channel to be at. Because I will have gotten then half of what I said Hillary Clinton 2020 is reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. I'm still saying 8 years of Trump, but obviously the biggest prediction of all time is Clinton becoming nominee. But I think I just do my thing, the sub count. I mean, there aren't a great many Bernie supporters who became Trump supporters, so I think that could be also a reason. But that's the funny thing also, Bimbo Dickens BXN, they say that I was a grifter for becoming a Trump supporter. Like, well, no, the grifters actually tried to foment the belief that Trump worked with Russia. So that's very lucrative. Being a Trump supporter is not lucrative. That makes no sense. Bimbo Dickens BXN, thank you so much. Latinos for Trump, yes. Bill Shepard! Get some rest and range time relaxation, you wild man. Thank you, Bill Shepard. Thank you. I gotta go. There's a really nice indoor range, not far from where I live, and it's. I have to go probably next week. I'll go. Bill Shepard, thank you so very much, Bill. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Bill Shepard. You always feel when you go to the range, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't gone, take, lessons from very qualified people there and be safe and, always abide by the most safe and, always abide by the, safety first. But you go, it's really, 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 just a relaxing, beautiful experience to go to the range and enjoy the Second Amendment. It really is. Bill Shepard, thank you very much. Thank you for the generosity, and thank you, Bill. Thank you. So I'm looking and I'm like, well, what are they like? What are they? What on earth are they talking about? And it's only like we're better. We're better than Trump supporters. We're better than conservatives. Let's mock. Let's denigrate. Let's insult. Oh, they're like obsessed with Jordan Peterson. So their version of politics is let me insult and mock and denigrate. And this is going to, but it works. This is the thing. It's exactly like what gets them going. It's what gets them going. They lost the election based on losing ideas. Their ideas lost. Okay? You cannot talk about anything pertaining to Bernie Sanders if you haven't addressed the fact that he was cheated. And not just address the fact that he was cheated, if you haven't addressed the systemic issues within the Democratic Party. They are not going to allow, they would never have allowed Bernie to win if they didn't allow Bernie to win in 2016. The fact that people thought that it was a possibility he could have won, that's one of the main reasons President Trump is going to win. Because the left is composed of people who, first and foremost, whether they admit this or not, and whether they believe this or not, are tools of the Democratic Party. They are tools of the Democratic Party. They can pretend that they're not, and they can claim moral superiority, but at the end of the day, I was one of the few people writing articles in Salon and the Huffington Post saying, I am not going to vote for the Democratic Party. I would rather have President Trump win, because essentially that's what I was doing. So Jill Stein was a protest vote. Kanye West can be a protest vote this year. So you find some people who are doing exactly what I did in 2016. But see, the thing is, when I did it, it wasn't popular. Mr. Falcon Lamb! Will Trump do debates on his own terms? I think that he's going to... I think he's going to have to deal with... the moderators that that the network provides. So, I mean, he'll probably have to deal with moderators that lean towards Hillary Clinton. Because there's no way that they're going to go, Biden cannot debate Trump. He would be eaten alive. So, Mr. Falcon Limb, thank you so very, very much. I do believe that it won't be on his own terms, but he's basically going to have to deal with whatever he's given. He's never going to be given a fair chance. Mr. Falcon Limb, he's never going to be given objective coverage, whether it's a debate or whether it's a moderator in a debate or whether he's never going to be given objective, fair coverage. Like, they're going after him for the way he drank water or went down a ramp. Are you kidding me? Biden literally stated he's running for Senate. And then he wants the cure to be worse than the problem. He's stated the most absurd things and they just sweep it under the rug. He called Arizona a city the other day. So, I mean, they will never agree to like an objective reality. So, I mean, they look at things from like the lenses of somebody that is obsessed with Trump. Obsessed with disliking President Trump. Mr. Falcon Limb, thank you. Voice of reason! Protesting because it encourages violence to anonymity. How convenient. Voice of reason. Well, I mean, if indeed that was the case, they always see. It's interesting. Democrats don't believe, and in many cases they're proven right. They don't believe that laws apply to them for some reason. So, voice of reason. It's interesting how none of the left-leaning channels, none of the left-leaning pundits, nobody on CNN or MSNBC ever, none of them ever acknowledge that you have $1.4 billion in property damage. They can never acknowledge this. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. They never acknowledge $1.4 billion in property damage. 10,000 arrests nationwide. It's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. And then, like, you have this situation where it's like, okay, these people are it's not like they're protesting a specific law, or it's very broad and overreaching, and now it's not even about police brutality. What are the people protesting about in Portland now? I don't know. Nobody really knows. What is the point of going up to a federal officer and then saying, oh my God, like going up, yelling at the top of your lungs, possibly, clashing, throwing things, engaging in violence, or going and trying to reprimand and yell at the top of your lungs in an intimidating manner, and then they retaliate, and you say, "Oh my God, look, they retaliated! How dare they?" Well, I mean, what was the point? What's the point of even what's the point? What are they doing? What do they want to accomplish? Kelly Danielle! Hey, HA, my 10-year-old daughter, Chloe, is watching. Can you say hi, Chloe? She loves watching and loves Trump. Chloe! Hello, Chloe. Hello. Kelly Danielle, thank you. Chloe, hello. Thank you for watching. Kelly, thank you. And Chloe, hello. And thank you for watching with your mom. Kelly, thank you so very, very much. And I'm very fortunate, Kelly and everybody here. I have a great many families that watch, and I'm just very, very thankful. So Kelly Danielle, and Chloe, thank you so very much. Chloe, thanks for watching. Kelly, everyone here, thank you. You know, it's like, I don't understand. What do you expect? If I'm going to go up to, if I feel if I'm at a protest and I feel that law enforcement has been unfair, which I'm not saying they haven't been unfair at times. I'm not saying that, yes, of course brutality exists. That is an issue that needs to be dealt with. Yes, okay, Colin Kaepernick's protest started under President Obama. No Democrats have kneeled since then during the national anthem. I wonder why. Democrats like to sit on the fence and say, gosh, you know how to stop all of this mayhem and chaos in cities? We can just vote for us. And then it'll magically stop. You have buildings set ablaze. You have, you're not going to, okay, if you don't like brutality or you don't like an increase in state power and authority, then definitely don't engage in violent acts, because then you're giving the state or the government more incentive to respond in either a draconian or violent manner, or a reciprocal manner, or a manner that isn't reciprocal, that's even more heavy-handed. So that makes no sense. The Democratic Party can pass legislation. You can pass legislation, or you can make it a point. For example, Keith Ellison is the Attorney General in Minnesota. Why didn't he make it a point to train law enforcement in Minneapolis to not engage in what happened? Not, put their knee on someone's neck so that person can't breathe. So, it's pretty unbelievable. Angela Goodwin, thank you. Simple Ben, Dave, and others. And many of us grew out of the Kvel, and we have our own thoughts. Oh, also, Dave rubbed. Angela Goodwin, yeah. I mean, that whole thing. He left that world, and he became, pretty well known, and he left and he started his own thing, and so they try to tear him down. So that I understand completely. Angela, thank you as always. Old School Dad Man. It's your prediction when you have Media Empire come December. You the man. You'll have Media Empire come December. You the man. Old School Dad Man. The only thing I want is to be able to have the most brilliant, amazing live streams on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Because that meltdown is going to be biblical. That meltdown, Old School Dad Man, that meltdown. Trump won? No! And it's your fault. Getting divorced from you. Why? Trump won. It's your fault. I can't stand it. It's going to be breathtaking to see them have to deal with the reality that Trump won again, and they've wasted the past 4 years. They have completely wasted the past 4 years. So, Old School Dad Man, thank you. Pete Solano! The bad people are looking to the merchandise that is not going on. Pete Solano, there's an extent. I think that's part. That could be one issue. I think that the main issue is you have people who, for some reason, believe that they're fighting a system, and they're being encouraged by people on the left saying, can you believe what Trump is doing? This is Trump's America. Oh my God, Trump's America. So they're being encouraged by this type of nonsense. And that's the issue. If someone walks up to a line of federal officers and then gets sprayed, why did you walk up to the line of federal officers? Why did you do that? Your First Amendment rights do not allow you to berate and intimidate officers when they've already stated the protest is over. What did you expect when you were yelling obscenities at them or trying to tell them off? Did you expect them to say, you know what, we'll leave right now, and you can continue protesting with that building set ablaze behind you, or like what? I don't understand this. Then you get the oh my God, you see what they're doing? This is just like an authoritarian regime. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. They have like a zero grasp of history or basic logic. Robin Loggy, Robin. See you November 3rd and 4th. Yes, Robin. Thank you so very, very much, Robin. Thank you. Robin Loggy, thank you so very much. Robin, be here, also September 2nd, because September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are going to be absolutely amazing. Robin, thank you so very much. They have spent 4 years, 17, 18, 19, and now going on 2020. They have spent 4 years telling you the most deceitful, absurd things. Then they say Trump lies. All they've done is lie. That's all they've done is state things without evidence. You cannot say that we reported that Trump could have worked with Russia based on the following evidence. The Steele dossier. Well, that's not evidence. That's not evidence. Well, James Clapper's ODNI report. Well, that's not evidence. That's not evidence at all. Simply an appeal to an authority that's biased is not evidence. Or, like, the Steele dossier was complete nonsense, literally purchased by Trump's direct political rival. Clinton is Trump's direct political rival. I wonder why they never state that. And I don't know I don't know how the Democratic Party is going to do this, because I am assuming that they want at least a chance to win. I'm assuming they're not as incompetent as they usually are, because the only chance they have is with Clinton. She is literally the only chance that they have. Literally the only chance they have. Because she does, okay, her voters have enthusiasm. Her voters have enthusiasm. So Robin, thank you so very much, Robin. So I don't know how it's going to happen. I swear to you, I have no clue how it's going to happen. I do not know how they're going to go from the exhumed body and the Botox cadaver and the most, there's a commercial, the most interesting man in the world. He's the most uninteresting man in the world, Biden. But Angela Goodwin, I can insult people in Latin, Yiddish, Magyar, English, German, Russian, and keep who can't wait till end of Yes! Angela, thank you so very, very much. Angela, that's, it's going to be awesome. And I think you'll have to utilize all the languages, all of those languages for all the mitzvahs that you're going to do in November. But Angela, thank you so very, very much. The meltdown is going to be beautiful. They're not going to see. President Trump hasn't really started campaigning. So, they're looking at him from the vantage point of, oh, well, you know what, everyone doesn't like him. It's Jimbo! It's HRC till she says otherwise. Yes, no, I'm telling you, I am 110% certain they're not going with Biden. Jimbo, they can't go with Biden, but I'm are they inept enough to waste the DNC convention? So, they have to nominate Clinton. And I'm telling you, they're going to nominate Clinton either at the convention or, sometime before the debates and the mail-in ballots. So, or the absentee ballots get sent late December, it's October. So late September is the first. So it's going to be Clinton versus Trump on that debate stage. It will be Clinton versus Trump on that debate stage. So, but again, Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. She'll be on that ballot. I will have made the biggest political call of all time. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Every day, like, you cannot win Florida when you have Democrats complaining that he's trying to suppress the Latino vote in Florida. How on earth can you win Florida without the Latino and Hispanic vote? So only Democrats would try to suppress one of the most, if not the most important voting demographics in Florida. But see, again, they're all over the place. Voice of reason! Establishment uniparty is being crushed by Trump. They know they're losing. Everything we see is total desperation. Oh, I agree with you on that. It is total desperation. I do agree with you on 100%. It is total desperation. A lot of this is just trying to carve out as much political capital before losing. I mean, you look at, there's nothing. They had more enthusiasm going into 2016, even after cheating Bernie Sanders. They were more enthusiastic, and they had more They had greater momentum going into November of 2016 than they do now. So, VVS1 Loose Stones, hello. HA the Great, thank you. Thank you. Voice of Reason, thank you. VVS1 Loose Stones, hello. It's really like, it's really interesting how VBS1 Loose Stones, thank you very, very much. Voice of Reason, thank you. It's really interesting how there's such a disconnect between reality and what media tries to portray as reality. There's such a disconnect. And when Trump wins again, see, there's no way that Biden would ever get close to the presidency. People care more about his vice president than they do about him. Generally, a VP pick, whether it's Tim Kaine or Mike Pence, nobody cares about a VP pick. Nobody focuses on, like, vice presidents don't really, aside from Dick Cheney, a vice presidential pick is not like, it's not viewed as like a consequential or important or paradigm changing event. Everyone is focusing on Biden's vice presidential pick because they know that this man is one fry short of a Happy Meal. So, or he's pretending to be. So, what is bringing enthusiasm to that, whatever it is, a campaign that will eventually be overtaken by Clinton? What is bringing enthusiasm is the fact that people are saying, okay, well, I wonder who's going to pick for VP. I wonder, because you know what? They're thinking the VP pick is going to be the real president, or be have more of an impact than Trump than Biden himself. But at a certain point, look, when they lose, and I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back, there will be very few people out there that have a greater understanding of why they lost than yours truly. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. The articles I wrote went viral. A great percentage of Rose Twitter shared the articles that I wrote. Okay, I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I will know exactly why they lost. And they will lose because they engage in the most despicable tactics, and they demand that you forget, and they demand that you forgive. And they will silence you if you don't give total allegiance. And you ask simple questions like, well, why did you focus on Russia for 3 years when it's a bunch of nonsense? So it's like it makes no sense at all. But when they do lose, it'll be very interesting. It'll be interesting how they spin it. That's one thing. It'll be very, very, very interesting how they spin it. Because I don't think they're going to really address the issue of losing. I don't think they're going to really address the issue of losing. So, really quickly, let's look at what they're saying. You can go on, like, I suggest everyone just, there's no reason to be on social media. I don't have Twitter or Facebook. If you see anyone impersonating me on Twitter, please notify Twitter. But because they're breaking the law. But if you look at what they're actually look at what they're actually doing. It's like, go on Twitter, find out everyone's mocking Biden. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. There is no way that Clinton isn't going to be the nominee. This is the biggest charade of all time. It's the biggest charade of all time. And it's like, it's unbelievable. There's no way they're going to go with this, man. There's no way. It's like, I'm the only person saying this. Unbelievable. I'm still with her. Still, Hillary was right about everything. Let's hear it. Oh my God, I love that so much. That's my favorite one. Hashtag Hillary was right. I'm going to get a tattoo. And you know what's going to happen? This is it'll be like performance art. I will get a tattoo on, I'm not really, but it would be hilarious to get a tattoo. Hashtag Hillary was right about everything when Trump wins. Why do I find that amusing? Isn't that so amazing? Mr. Falcon Lamb. If U.S. bans TikTok, will the media ban Trump? You know it. You know what? It's funny too, because that platform, you would think, because it's video based, would have more of an impact than Twitter. And Twitter is lessening in terms of its relevance. It's not as relevant as it was even 5 months ago or 6 months ago. Mr. Falcon Lim, I don't know. It's interesting. They're gonna try to silence him any way they can. Angela Goodwin. Wait till he says his V picture. That would be awesome. Pete Solano. I predict Biden disappears and replaced by Clinton. The news stories would be Biden went to Florida and got eaten by. They'd pick the alligator then. And they'd say, you know what? He's inside the alligator, so what's the problem? Pete Solano! Thank you, Mr. Falcon Lim. Thank you. Pete Solano, thank you so very, very much. As always, Pete. They would just simply, get the alligator to run. Well, he's inside the alligator. It's the same thing. Hillary was right about everything. this is it's so hilarious too that it's really hilarious too. You look at they're like so obsessed. They're so obsessed with they're so obsessed with still trying to. There are people online saying, well, Trump got away. He should have been charged with working with Russia. And it's like, they had nothing. They fabricated everything. They would have charged him if they had something. The opposite is true with Madam Secretary. They had a lot, but they then said, well, there was no intent. It's so bizarre that they're stuck on. This is how you know Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. They're still stuck on. They're still stuck, and then they call Trump a traitor or Republicans traitors. Even that never happened, but are Democrats traitors for purchasing the Steele dossier? See, the only people who actually purchased anything or got a money flow from Russia or Uranium One officials, these were Democrats, not Trump. Jimbo! Yeah, big time. Big time. Abel! Gracias a muchos hispanos. No queremos los woke. Abel, thank you. Thank you. Abel, thank you so much. Abel, thank you so very, very much. I don't think that... I think that today's paradigm on the left doesn't resonate with anyone. I don't think anyone really sees it as viable. Abel, thank you so very, very, very much. Abel, thank you. Jimbo, Barr made Dems look foolish. Big time. He did, and big time. He really did make Democrats look foolish, but it's unbelievable. So you have this very bizarre. I'm looking at this right now, and this is like really, really bizarre. So you look at I'm still with her. It's still. People are still 8 minutes ago, I'm still with her. 2 hours ago, never forget. # never forget. It's so great. Let me tell you something. When it goes down, people, I'll be the only person in all of YouTube, 33 million channels. This and H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'll have a segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel after this really good segment. But, I mean, you look, they have not given up. They have not given out. They have not given up at all. Let's look at, it's interesting. Let's look at, is anyone even talking about Medicare for all? What are they talking, you don't see any major pundit talking about this on the left anymore. They take a policy or a cause and they run it into the ground. That's what they do. They just run it into the ground. Emos the Witness, hello. Emos the Witness, hello. This is such a bizarre time. It's such a bizarre time in American politics. I'm very, very fortunate to have 500 viewers at this time in the evening. This is 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I have 500 viewers on this live stream, and we're going on over an hour now. Well, we'll go to like around 2 hours. But it's such a bizarre time where, like, what is there really to talk about aside from, oh, they're remote voting? This is interesting also. This is really kind of hilarious. They're engaged now in remote voting, which I just know is going to suit Madam Secretary. All you have to do is watch. Oh yeah, oh is that Pantene? Oh yeah, it's so good. What? Let's see. DNC remote voting. Democrats reveal remote voting rules. Okay, DNC outlines remote voting process for Milwaukee. Vote Hillary Clinton, people. What's the problem? Speaking to all the wonderful pledge delegates, do not vote for Biden. Vote for Hillary Clinton. She's the only chance that she's the only person who could possibly defeat Trump. And I'm saying this as a Trump supporter. Trump's going to win again. You didn't listen to me in 2015. Well, don't make the same mistake. Vote for Hillary Clinton. DNC outlines remote voting process for Milwaukee convention. The Democratic National Committee. So obviously, obviously Clinton's going to be on that ballot. She'll be the nominee. We don't know when. I'm saying at the convention. I'm the only person on the planet who's saying this. The Democratic National Committee has outlined the remote work and voting process for delegates this year's convention. So they're going to vote via email, which is really, really hilarious. Really hilarious. Jimbo! Thank you. Emos the Witness! Emos the Witness, thank you. Klein BMX. Barney, I'm going to answer the Klein BMX. William Barr, Klein BMX. William Barr's the type of person who, the slower he speaks, the better it is to illustrate how utterly incompetent Democratic politicians are. And if you can please explain which political adversaries we've indicted. Of course, when Trumpy wins, we're just waiting. Because that will be a cascade of indictments eventually. Probably starting with the lower level FBI officials who tweeted their lovers, honey, you have nothing to worry about. We'll stop Trump. Klein BMX! As always, Klein BMX, thank you so very, very much, Klein BMX. Voice of reason. Nixon, one break-in, total failure, spike scandal, thousands of break-ins over no long. Exactly. I mean, this makes I don't look at Watergate. Voice of reason, I don't look at Watergate anymore as, thank you very much, Voice of reason. I don't look at Watergate anymore as like, oh my God, this big, Nurbleflorp! I got to do that again. Nurbleflorp! I got to do that a third time. Nurbleflorp! Thank you so very much. One of the great names on this channel. Nurbleflorp is a great name. Thank you so very, very much. Nurbleflorp! Thank you, Nurbleflorp. Thank you very, very much. Nurbleflorp, I want to thank you from the bottom of William Barr's heart. His cold, lifeless heart, according to Democrats. Mr. Falcon Lamb! Did the statue take that? Oh, big time. Is that the media is no longer reporting who really cared about? Yeah, exactly. Mr. Falkenham, it was a huge failure, as is every Democratic tactic, a huge failure. Because you have to vote on these things. They have a problem voting on they have a problem voting on anything from Medicare for All to tearing down statues. Mr. Falkenham, thank you. It's true. Lyle Bud! HA controls the pack of flags, which I'm proud of. Lyle Bud, thank you. It's actually really but Pat, they cheated. If it was fair, they would have. If it was a fair primary, they would have. I mean, there's things that I can't, I'm not right about everything, but I mean, how was I to know they would cheat Bernie? If it was a fair primary, even people on the left, like the brilliant Noam Chomsky, said he would have won that primary. I say brilliant, with a caveat. He's not right about everything, Noam Chomsky, obviously, but I had the pulse of what was going on. And look, I made one of the biggest calls ever when I was on the left. I said Clinton would lose. Nobody was saying that. Lyle Bud, thank you so very much, Lyle, as always. Thank you, Lyle Bud. Tammy Eaton. Tammy. Thank you, Lyle. Thank you for always watching. Tammy. Joe should do ads for G. Your hair smells too. Do I improve the show? Oh, yeah. Oh, shampoo is fantastic. Come on, man. I'm smelling this person's hair, man. Come on. What is that, eucalyptus, man? Come on. Yes, man, a little eucalyptus, yeah. Yeah. Smells great. Smells fantastic. Oh. Mark Skog! I have a source that said our primary total should be in a Mark, great point. Great point, Mark. It's really unbelievable, Mark, how they got away with that. It's really unbelievable. It is really unbelievable how they got away with that. It is just, that's how you know Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. This is the biggest story. It's the biggest story, and they have a chance. I would say a 25% chance of winning with Clinton. They have a 0% chance with Biden. Zero. Nobody wants to elect the first exhumed body to president. Rhett Lindsay! I tried to debate some of my misguided left and friends on Facebook. No, Rhett. It never works out. I should have listened to you. Big waste of time. It just hurt the friendship. Rhett, I want to tell you something. I actually spoke to a dear friend of mine today, who, God bless him, really, really awesome person. He doesn't like Trump, lifelong Democrat like I used to be. And he was totally fine with me. Being a Trump supporter. And I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I said, this gentleman I grew up with is so much more intelligent and possesses so much more wisdom and intellect than other people I grew up with who are like, I can't talk to you because you're Trump. And I said, why can't everyone on the left be like this gentleman who is just an awesome person that I grew up with, known since 7th grade. Hadn't spoken to him in a while, but just a great human being. And it got me thinking, the people on the left who are good, just cool and good and don't, mix politics and friendship and don't try to, disown or disavow or oppose their friends. Those are the people who are showing really who they are inside. The people who try to insult you or denigrate you or demean you or silence you or get into arguments with you or don't engage in good faith debate or try to, if the debate, devolves into the typical name calling, those are the people that, they're showing who they are inside. I don't care if a great many people I know worship Hillary Clinton statues, which they do. I want them to worship those statues. That makes me happy. Rhett Lindsay! Red, I've been there so many times. That's why, thank God, I don't have Facebook and I don't have Twitter. And it's just, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. I don't. That's why the meltdown. But Red, be here for the meltdown on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But don't be on Facebook or Twitter because oh my God, they're going to be rabid. Red, thank you. Sorry I had to deal with that. Red. Teresa King. November is going to be glorious month. I'm taking a week-long vacation just to watch it all happen. Oh my God, yes, Teresa King. Hillary Clinton is going to be head up against Trump, and it's going to be Battle of the Titans. And it's going to be Ali Frazier. It's going to be Celtics Lakers. It's going to be Dodgers Yankees. It's going to be Raiders Broncos. By the way, I'm always my whole life diehard USC Trojans fan, but now I grew up a hardcore Los Angeles Raiders fan, and they're moving to Vegas, so I'm going to renew my love for the Raiders. Just because I was thinking the other day, I'm like, when life gets back to normal, I haven't had an NFL team for a long time. I mean, not since the Raiders. The only NFL team, it's kind of like your first love, then you're going back to your first love, and you get married with your first love. So the only NFL team I truly loved was the Raiders. But then they left LA, and I was upset for a while. But I'm going back to the Raiders. I would actually love for them to move to LA, which I don't think will ever happen again. But, so why am I bringing this up? Oh, yeah, Raiders, Broncos, or Raiders, Chiefs. And that's one of the reasons also, not in addition to Teresa King and everybody, in addition to the fact that, everyone from, everyone from Art Shell to Marcus Allen to Tom Flores to John Madden to Kenny Stabler to Howie Long to Bo Jackson to just every Raider, Lyle Alzado, John Matuzak. You just think of all, I said Fred Blitnikoff, right? Cliff Branch, Al Davis. So you think, wow, it's funny too because I'm like, oh, I should just renew my love affair with the Raiders because I know more about the Raiders than I do most other teams, although I know a lot about other teams too in the NFL. And I think that in this world, the Raider mentality or the Raider aura is very much needed in this world that we live in addition to the fact that they're awesome and, you can look back. I saw the game at the Coliseum where Bo Jackson it was two sweeps, 70 yards one play and then 65 or 70 yards and then 80 yards another play. It was against the Broncos. And it was awesome. But anyway. So they have so many greats. Jim Plunkett was awesome too. Teresa King, thank you. Disco Don. HA with the new HA with the new far left progressive politicians in office. Do you think the right should start electing more far? No. Disco Don, I'll tell you why. Okay. The conservative populist politicians, yes. Conservative populist, but you don't want the Bush era, overly religious, theocratic type of, morally. See, the Bush morally superior political paradigm and the Democratic Party morally superior political paradigm. This is why they love the Lincoln Project. Because they don't mind, like, when you get to the Marco Rubio, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, John McCain type of Republican, you're going to lose every single election, because then Democrats can run and say, well, we're less militant. They can't say that. Now, that is one of the biggest, that's a great question, but that's one of the biggest, Disco Don, that's one of the biggest reasons that President Trump won, because he can say, look, I'm not a conservative Republican. I'm not a conservative Republican. I mean, he can say, like, I'm not a Paul Ryan, but I'm not a Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi and Paul Ryan dislike Trump. And Max Boot and Bernie Sanders are voting for Clinton again in 2020. So Disco Don, great question. Great name also. But you want President Trump to be, like, you want Republicans to be more like that Republican in North Carolina, that young man who Matt, I think his name is he's really awesome. His Madison Cawthorn survived a horrific accident. Really awesome. And he's just, he is fantastic. He's fantastic. So you want Republicans to elect people like 24-year-old Madison Cawthorn, because that's what's going to win back the House, not another Paul Ryan who's like atrocious and who has that famous workout with the 15-pound dumbbell. Yeah, look at me. I work out. Hold on, where's that Paul Ryan photo? Oh my God, so erotic and fantastic. Oh my God, Paul Ryan. Let's see, workout photo. Yeah, yes. 40 pounds. He's not. And then when I don't believe he's curling 40 pounds. I'm calling fake weights. We're gonna do what those YouTubers do. They find, like, if like you lift fake weights, they go like, we're here with Paul Ryan. Nah. Yeah, that's like a 15 pounder right there. Yeah, look at that 15-pound dumbbell curl. I like it. I think they just put 40. They just put the number 40. That doesn't look like a 40-pound weight, but man, who knows? Love it. Yeah, Paul Ryan workout photo. And you see the workout bench. It's so great. Between Mitt Romney putting his dog on the top of his car and Paul Ryan's workout photo, they'll never win an election again. Tammy Eaton. Done with the NFL and all. You think this ends? We got along fine. Tammy, my whole thing is I want Democrats to kneel. That's what I want. Tammy, thank you so very much. Tammy, thank you so very, very much. This is New York Daily News. Tammy, Vice Presidential candidate Paul Ryan's bulging biceps. Oh, wow. Get more attention than his budget plan. This is hilarious. Do you want to know? This is 2012. Do you think they would ever say anything nice about President Trump like this? Okay, maybe President Trump doesn't have bulging biceps, but at least, like, President Trump's golf game or his suit, or I don't know. Vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan's bulging biceps. Oh my God. Oh my God. Not since Arnold Schwarzenegger have we seen such an amazing body. This is like Lee Haney and Lee Haney, Arnold Schwarzenegger have nothing on Paul Ryan. Oh my God. So this is hilarious. So this is what not since Ronnie Coleman have we seen such massive muscles like Paul Ryan. But yeah, I mean, we're just waiting, ladies and gentlemen. We're waiting. We have every day. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm telling you, Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. She's done so much for this country. She's almost a deity. She suffered for all of us. She's basically like some kind of divine individual. She has suffered for us. She suffered for our sins. She's such a good person. And she's so qualified, unlike Biden, who I don't know what that man's qualified for nowadays, but it's just a matter of time. The remote voting looks really good for Madam Secretary. They're voting via email. I mean, who knows more about emails than Madam Secretary? Come on. It's happening. They don't want me to bask in the sun. Do you understand? They don't want me to take the victory lap. This is it's a plot against me, H.A. Badman. They're waiting until the last second. Do you understand? All I want is my little victory lap. Okay, yes. It'll be like that person yelling, ah! Except me, I'll be yelling like tears of joy, like, ah! Yes. They're waiting until the last second. Here, if they go with, first of all, they're not going to, okay, Clinton's going to be nominee, but if they go with Biden at the convention, I'll give you his speech. Hey, man, come on, man. Come on, man. People now. Smell on your brother. Come on, man. Hey, now, man. I was a Democratic one. You know. And you know. Don't be lying and dog-faced. Come on. I'm running for Senate. Repeal the 19th. Ishmael, come on. Cornflakes, where you at? Thank you, Cornflakes. I want to thank you so much. And we're going to repeal the 18th and the 19th. Or actually going to reinstate the 18th and the 19th. Repeal it. No good. Never did anything good anyway. Tammy, he can do shampoo. Oh, yeah. What is that smell? Amazing smell. I love that. Eucalyptus. Raspberry Supreme. I love that Raspberry Supreme. Angela Goodwin. Tammy, thank you, Tammy. Far left, far right have too much in common. Only they name the deity differently. That's true. That's true. Yeah, Tom Fitton is buff. Yeah, Tom Fitton. Tom Fitton's always like, I just want to let you know we're doing a new. He's always posing. He's fantastic. I love Tom Fitton, but he's like, I just want to. We were at the courthouse the other day, and it was just that way. Courthouse. Clinton emails. He is ripped. Theresa King! Do you think when Hillary runs this year, there will actually be some debates take place with her and the Donald mystery? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Clinton versus Trump during the debates. It has to. If it is Biden versus Trump, if it's Trump versus Biden in the debates, Teresa, if it's Trump versus Biden in the debates, you basically have, if it's Trump versus Biden in the debates, if it's Trump versus Biden in the debates, President Trump might devour him literally on stage and eat him alive. And that's not, I'm not speaking like, I think he might actually just eat, like Jabba the Hutt, just eat like that. I don't see Biden, like, you're talking about a person who turned into one of the aliens in the show V. This was during the climate change debate, and then there was that blood vessel, and the whole thing was like, oh my God, what's happening? And his eye was filling up with fluid, and he looked like a reptile. I mean, is this like, am I watching something that's like, is this happening? I don't think so. They cheated Bernie Sanders. Do you understand? The end of the world could take place, and I could be like the last person on the planet. Be like, they cheated Bernie Sanders. It's like it could be like nuclear annihilation, and then the meteor comes, and I'll be the last person, and I'll be foraging for food. And H.A. Badman, the last person alive, they cheated Bernie Sanders. Everyone's smoldering. There's nobody left. We just want to let you know, anyone, who are you over there? That amoeba. Listen, they cheated Bernie. So that they cheated Bernie Sanders. There's no way that this election is even like, there's just no way that this election is working out the way that they think it is. Jimbo! I heard Dems trying for remote debates. They ain't going to get remote debates, Jimbo. I don't think they're going to get remote debates. I think that they're trying to, I mean, who knows? But look, there's no way that they could possibly win with Biden. See, they despise President Trump so much. You could literally find a crocodile or an alligator and put like a top hat on the reptile, and they'll say, oh, well, this reptile is polling better than Trump. Look, this reptile is up by 3 points in Florida. This reptile is doing better overall when it comes to his response on a variety of things. Trump is losing to the reptile. Oh, my God. And then they say, and I can go on forever regarding this, but their mentality is like, if you don't do what I want, it would be like living with somebody that, like, oh, if you don't do what I want, you're creating divisiveness. I feel like Italian food tonight. No, I feel like sushi. And, you're always so divisive. You're so polarizing with everything you say. Why? You asked me where I wanted to go. No, I just, I want to go to Italian food. You said you want, or sushi, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like anything that goes against their sensibilities or their desires, they say you're being divisive. So Trump is being very divisive, but he has a 91 to 95% approval rating within the Republican Party. So they say, oh, he's being so divisive. We just need, we need unity. He's being so divisive. He's being divisive because he's doing what he was elected to do, bring home Americans from counterinsurgency conflicts and other, policies that you don't like. That's why you call them divisive and polarizing. Tammy! Calling the Dems reptiles is closer to truth than we may yet realize. Oh, maybe, Tammy, thank you. Maybe. Tammy Eaton, thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Rhonda, hello. Tammy Eaton, thank you so much. Tammy, thank you. Let's just, we had such an amazing, this has been such an amazing live stream. And ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat, thank you so very much. I mean, you've been so wonderful. And I mean, it's really, really just awesome. Thank you. But, let's just see really quickly. Let's look at what's going on. Let's see anything last second. Again, they're always anything that he says, they take out of context, and then they say he's trying to sow divisions. There are differences in policies, and there are differences in viewpoint, and there's differences in political paradigms. Not everything has to be nefarious. And it's okay to disagree with Democrats. It is okay. You're not born on this earth to agree with everything that Democrats say. Yeah, it's all right. Isn't that bizarre? Isn't that bizarre? Isn't Sarah? Thank you. Isn't that bizarre? The Democrats keep saying, he's so divisive. Then the New York Times. Oh, help me find. It's really interesting. They don't. This is an article by Nicholas Kristof. They're like, well, help me find, basically, they're just like, oh, help me find the anarchists, but like, the article is basically trying to say, gosh, what is Trump talking about? How many millions of dollars do you think, in terms of property damage, cities throughout the countries have faced by very peaceful individuals? Okay? How many, okay, so you can look, Bloomberg, Portland, okay, set building ablaze, okay. These are different days. Police union building set ablaze. Where do they not see this? Can they not even acknowledge this? They say they don't acknowledge anything. It's like literally they just it's pretty unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. I have a great segment. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. I have a great segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check that out. It is below. I'm going to upload it in a couple of minutes to my super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very, very thankful, grateful. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. I will have a segment up right now on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, Mark Schmidt, thank you. Jay, thank you. Aaron, thank you. Everyone here, thank you so very, very much, everyone. To my super chat, thank you, everybody. And subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. But people, thank you so very, very much. And you know what? I'll have an upload on H.A. Goodman's other channel in about 10 minutes. So I'll see you there. And thanks, everybody. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thanks as always. People, I'll see you very soon. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 p.m. Pacific time, around 8 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Pacific, I'll have a long 2-hour live stream like this every night past November, December. So it'll be every night. Be here. If you enjoy, set your clocks. Make sure you watch from 8 to 9 p.m. I'll be doing my live stream, 2-hour live stream every single evening. And ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to seeing you here, especially on September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 3 of the most important days in the history of the internet. And that's not hyperbole. Give me your thoughts. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. And Aaron, thank you. And check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. The link is below in the pinned comment.